So, okay. Behold, the kingdom of God is within you. Honestly, I need to ask you, and uh, do you find that shocking in any way? I mean, if you really listen to that and then think about, uh, so here's one of the things that comes up for me where I jump back to and rely on my initial classes over the years in science of mind. Um, what is the kingdom of God? Well, I can say one thing for sure. Well, one of the things that makes me think about is Jesus. And in a whole variety of ways, Jesus talked about this. Um, and there are many spiritual teachers that wrote the books of the Bible, and it's definitely quoted in Luke and Matthew. And they take on, uh, in Luke anyway, the writer takes on the words, the kingdom of God. And then uh, Jesus going and talking to the Pharisees, um, who were the Jewish teachers. They represented the law of the Jewish faith. And when Jesus was on the scene in their larger community, they were like, "Who is this guy? What does he know? We are righteous ones, uh, even though they were hypocrites. We are the ones that know, not the others." And so they said to Jesus, "Well, when is this kingdom of God coming?" And his answer was, "The kingdom of God is at hand. The kingdom of God is within you." Well, this was a whole new idea. This was an idea that gave people a lot of freedom to be bold. And I want to emphasize that when talking about being bold, that it's very important, especially for us, if we're going to take that idea and use it to to encourage things that we want to do, to to face, uh, to draw on our own courage within ourselves to deal with things that are very uncomfortable in our lives. Now, I am aware that just everything I said it's a lot. Um, so to simplify the idea of being bold, I looked it up in the dictionary, usually do. I did look up in the glossary of the Science of Mind textbook, and it wasn't in there, wasn't all that surprised. Although in the textbook there are places that Holmes writes about being bold, and he encourages us to be bold. He says the principle that lives within us, the principle and the power of being a co-creator calls us to be bold. And truth be told, as soon as we are applying that principle to our lives, you and me both, and all of you out there, uh, I guarantee you that if it's not just oh, I'll try it for today or for an hour or two, that you will find yourself being bold automatically because you're generating a power within you. The kingdom of God is within me. Well, what are all the qualities and the attributes of God? See, these are questions that are answered in Science of Mind magazine. And, where I got the talk title is from the magazine right there on the front for June. Holy boldness. All kinds of ways to be bold. And this has two issues, May and June. And there's a whole lot of articles in here, especially in June, that speak specifically to being bold. So the definition of bold is it's of a person, action, or idea. Bold. Now, of course, there's bold type print and there's artwork that may be bold. So setting those aside, for the person, for the individual, it's about action or ideas. Action. It is showing us that when we're bold, we have the ability to take risks. Now, how often do you maybe respond to something within yourself, that an idea that you have, an action that you think, I'm going to do this. And then the more you think about it, you begin to back away from it. And what I want to share with you is that if your ideas and your actions, your ideas about what actions to take, are coming from a place of practicing your spirituality, that you're being conscious of the fact that you are a spiritual being, that the things that you choose to think and to do are your God-given ability to co-create. Now, in a world without those ideas, any thoughts or ideas of action that we have without that, we'll be going like, I don't have the courage to do that. Or, oh, that would just be too bold. What would they think? That's the worst one. What would they think? Being bold is coming from a place of, I have value. I am worthy. Just by the fact that I'm created in the image and the likeness of this infinite power, this divine wisdom, the qualities and the ability to walk those qualities out in the face of all the things that we will undoubtedly experience. Obstacles, things that make us shake in our boots, proverbial boots. Yeah, we've all been there. You can think about it. I mean, you can remember. And, I'm aware of the fact that because of the average age group, myself included, because of the average age group here and online, and people, not necessarily people that are attracted to this teachings, but the ones that we usually see, we might be thinking, well, Yeah, I can think of times that I was bold in my past. Well, I don't know how I did that. Like, that was pretty awesome. I hope that you look at your past that way. And yeah, I made mistakes, but I learned from them. That even that if let's say you're in a place in your life where you're not working, but maybe you think about volunteering. What would I do? Maybe you've been wondering about that, but haven't made any decisions because speaking for myself, a period of time that I was really wondering about that, I started to look at all well, what's available out there, given what I was interested in. Very, very interested in um, serving people with needs. Very interested in the idea of people not going hungry, children especially. I could really get behind that. And there are lots of organizations out there that are um, doing those things. And I filled out their applications, and from every single one of them, they said, we have all the volunteers we need. I don't believe that. Or maybe you think that was just a little aside. I don't believe it. I mean, they should be saying yes. You know, if somebody shows up in your life and they offer to do something for you, for goodness sake, say yes. Who knows where it'll lead you? You are of value. If you have a desire to do something, anything, mow. Yeah, yeah. Just to explore something within yourself. Maybe you want to paint. So I thought that at one time, and it's not that I'm not good at it, but it's my own level of good. And I have to confess that at that time that I was doing that, I looked at what I was doing, and it wasn't like anybody else's. And I was really challenged with not admiring theirs more than mine and saying, oh, well, I just do the same thing all the time. I have my preference, but actually that wasn't true. Probably for a lot of us, there's so many things that we want to do, we can't choose. Anybody in that category? Like we have so many interests, things that we want to, yeah, I'd love to explore painting or drawing. You see what all I have written out here. What else? Traveling. What kind of music? You mean your own playing music? Oh, that's awesome. What else? Yes, I have that written down. Yes, all kinds of dancing. And there's, it's especially the ballroom uh, dance thing. Hmm? Well, I was just going to say that in COVID, at the time of COVID, when everything did what it did, because I was going to dance classes regularly every week. I had my pattern. It worked. I didn't have to think about it. It was great. And it just stopped. Talking about COVID, that's a whole another thing. But it stopped and it hasn't fully recovered, which is not by means of trying to discourage you. But a lot of the instructors moved away, and it's just different. What's happening now is different. And there's a couple of instructors that can cover the number of people that are showing up. Well, it's a lot more fun when there's more people. So you need to go if that is something you're interested in. And then there's all kinds of other things. So what else? are some of you, what have some of you been thinking about in terms of whether it's volunteering or just something that you want to try? Okay, that's a big, big topic. Do you mean you want to learn more about it? Got it. Well, that figures. Hmm. What? Oh, yeah, but I think she means more than that. So that reminds me something that I wanted to share with you in terms of religious science. I said earlier that we used to be called religious science. Got to move away from that light. Um, I never had any problem with the term religious science because, well, probably because of my teachers. And it was made clear to me that, and in the readings of Ernest Holmes, he said it's called religious science because what we, the science of mind, brings the science to spirituality. And actually, through the practices that we teach here and the practice of spiritual mind treatment, um, through these practices, meditation, using affirmations, um, we use spiritual principles in a scientific way. And the reason that it's scientific is because it always works. It's absolute. The outcome is 100%. And that includes even if we don't know that there's been a change or a new outcome. And sometimes it gradually unfolds. Now, early on, when I started going uh, to the Paradise Church of Religious Science, and Connie, I was counting it up this morning, and that was 40 years. It was 1984. It might have been 83, but anyway, I'm like, oh my God, I'm old. But hey, I mean, yeah, it, 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 yeah, and like Dr. Carolyn says, I live, eat, and breathe science of mind. I mean, and, you know, and now, com- well, back in the day, first of all, there was no internet. If there was, it was only for certain people. Um, the other thing is that we are blessed with having so many different spiritual teachers in the whole realm of new thought and that are teaching in their own way. They're teaching these principles. Well, it can also get a little confusing. Um, if I ever feel myself beginning to get a little confused, I always just go back to, okay, what are the basics that I believe? And probably it just gets a little more, it, it gets complicated for me. And this works for me. I understand it and I know how to apply it. Speaking of that, without the application, there's nothing. So, oh well, the kingdom of God is within me. And you hear that today, or whatever it is that inspires you or encourages you, and you go out and you start doing the same thing. I've been there. And some days I do that, the same thing over and over again. I still like to write things down when I'm here that I hear because it brings it more to the forefront. of my mind. So I think that a lot of what I'm saying, underlying what I'm saying to you, is study and repetition is the number one thing for learning and applying these principles. Period. Learning, and the learning includes applying them. So I invite you today to contemplate, and maybe throughout the whole week, if you like to journal, to contemplate this idea the kingdom of God is within me. What does that, first of all, it's got to mean something to you. If it doesn't, that's okay. But if it does, what does that mean to me? If I begin to say to myself, the kingdom of God is within me in a powerful, meaningful way to myself, my physical body begins to respond. I feel the energy of it. Now, for me, I automatically know, and this is probably the most important thing that have gotten from Science of Mind. When I say the word God or spirit, I know what that means. I know that it is not a person. It's not an anthropomorphic being up in the sky. I know that it's qualities. Peace, love. The kingdom of God is within me. The peace is within me. I love Mother Earth. How could I not? If I'm conscious, how could I not? I am Mother Earth. We're all Mother Earth. Somewhere here in my notes, I have written down this idea that we say God is within me. For me, the bigger truth is I'm in God. There's no part of me that is not God. Spirit, the absolute, the ground of being. No part, even the part I don't like, even the part that I want to pass away. It's still manifesting. No, I wasn't conscious of manifesting it, but it is still manifesting. I had a part. We always have a part. We may not be able to figure out what it is. You know, that's our personal journey that practitioners, ministers can help us with. So I'm what I'm emphasizing is that no, it's not just God is within you and all this part that you don't like, whether it's relationships that aren't working or not enough financial abundance in your life, or you feel like your creative abilities to express and to be are just kind of not where you want them to be, or you're having physical health challenges. Those are God expressing at the level that we've personalized it. So, you know, this, we here, we start to get into the idea that there's conscious, for us as individuals, as expressions, individualized expressions of the infinite, that we have a conscious mind and we also have a subjective mind, a subconscious mind. And in actuality, isn't it amazing when we learn that the part of us that is conscious is like a pin within the whole level of consciousness. But what's important is that where we are conscious is the place that we begin. The kingdom of God is within me. Just by means of who I am as a spiritual being, I'm bold. And I can use that boldness and I can draw on the courage that's always been there within me. Always. I just didn't use it, or I didn't know it, or I identified more with the problem than with the courage within me. Each and every one of us have so many things going on in our lives. It's a lot. But remember, because we're in this infinite intelligence and we're co-creators, that the intelligence and the wisdom and the conscious mind of God, of spirit, knows exactly what it is, what you're going through. And if you don't know what you need, then affirm that there's that within you that does. And that it is unfolding by means of you in ways that you can understand and use for your highest and your best. So to end with this sentence that I love from a song by David Alt called, the album itself is called Worthy Shoes. And he says, there's no way I can lose. It's all because I choose to put on worthy shoes. So my charge to you is to put on your boldness, to wear it proudly, to allow it to manifest through you, to guide you in every single way of your life, every challenge, and know that even though you may feel weak and courageous less at times, that you don't have to go get courage anywhere. There's that. You don't have to go get it. It's within you. It's in your DNA. It's in your genes. It's in your cells. It's in your mind. It's in your spirit. It's who you are. So which of the Wizard of Oz characters? The lion. Yeah. I know some yoga instructors. Do you ever do this, Liz? At the mirror, you growl like a lion. Yeah, there's a pose. Yeah, you did that in class recently. Yeah. All righty. Now, I missed, so that's the end. The end. In case you thought I was going on and on any further.